Hi Nisha, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Let's wait two
Yeah,
or
yeah,
three
that's
minutes,
fine. Yeah,
then I'll begin the class.
sure,
Any
sure.
any doubts in any topics that we have covered so far?
Yeah, actually, so far, going through the PDF and the sessions which I have attended, hopefully, I'll go through it. And because the PDF is so long and trying to understand, it will take time. But so far, it is all clear, whatever you have told in the session.
Oh, great. Okay. Hello Saloni ji, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Any doubts from any sessions that you have taken?
Not now.
No. Uh,
Okay. For now, it's like very much bit clear from your side. So yeah, all good.
okay, so I think we should begin the class. So everybody back and neck straight. You can gently close your eyes and just start observing your breath. Cut your mind from any thoughts pertaining to the past or the future and come back to the present and stay with your breath. The reality of this moment as it is. Check your posture. Back should be straight. Neck and forehead, shoulders should be relaxed. And come back to your breath. And begin to deepen your breath, taking a slow, long, and deep inhalation and a slow, long, and deep exhalation. And continuing in this manner, taking a few more breaths like this. Mind is calm and relaxed, and prepare to chant Om 3 times, followed by 3 Shantis. After your next exhalation, inhale deeply for Om. Shan, Shan, Shanti. Join both your palms together in front of the chest. And now rub both the palms together. Place them over the eyes and slowly, while blinking and looking at the palm, open up the eyes and mark with a smile. And namaste to everyone. Let's begin today's session. Okay. So today we are going to talk about the very famous text, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Okay. So I'll just write that down in the chat box also. So it's not Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it's Patanjali Yoga Sutra or Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Okay. Mm. Patanjal is spelled as Patanjal. Patanjal Yoga Sutras. Okay, for Yoga Sutra. So the founder of this text is said to be Maharishi Patanjali. So now the name Patanjali will come. Okay. So as we were discussing yesterday, this was the classical period where yoga flourished a lot. So that is when the Yoga Sutras came into yoga was properly formulated, and this is the text in which it was properly formulated. Okay, so now before we start about the understanding the text and like the overall format of this text, it's very important to understand that these are not shlokas, these are sutras. Okay, so when you read Bhagavad Gita, you will see that you are reading shlok. But when you read Patanjal Yoga Sutras, so you are reading sutras. So sutra was coded language. That is why when you will see a lot of commentaries on this, because earlier shlokas came later. It was easier, shlokas were easier to understand, sutras were not that easy to understand. Yes, so one thing was this, that it is in the form of a coded language, so you will see a lot of commentaries, everybody interpreting them in different ways. So you can go for any commentary, you can go for a direct. Okay. So you will find a very thin book of Gita Press Gorakhpur that comes in Hindi. So you will find direct translation. Even there are books in English like Swami Vivekanand's commentary, and there is one more book, Bihar School of Yoga. Their commentary is also there on the Yoga Sutras. So you will find different commentaries, and everyone, when you will read these books, you will see everybody has a different way of interpreting the same thing. Second of all, why sutra, the word sutra is used, or why it relates to how the information was like passed on. So sutra means thread. So one, you cannot understand the previous like one sutra without understanding the previous flow of the information that was coming. And so he gave it in a form where everything was like, I can say, one by one. So there was a chain, there is a chain that is being formed when he passed down the information, and it was a very systematic way of passing down that information. So you see that the word sutra is used over here. Okay, so now let's go and begin with the text itself. So Patanjali's time, like um, generally accepted time, is considered to be 400 BC. So yesterday we discussed 500 BC till 800 AD was the time when the classical period of the history of yoga is considered. So the highly accepted time, which is accepted by most historians, of when Patanjali ji actually existed is 400 BC. Okay. So he is considered to be the father of classical yoga. Okay, you can write these down as points, like, and when you read about the text itself, so you will see that these things are like, these things are important things. If you are not teaching the text itself, like to your students, but you have to tell them about the structure of the book, then these things will come in very handy to you. So you guys can write this down also. So he is considered to be the father of classical yoga. The next thing is that, as I told you in the first class also, that in Indian philosophy, when we go in the orthodox schools, there is a pair of two systems together. So Sankhya and Yoga were the two pairs that we were concentrating on the most. So this comes from, like, the Yoga Sutras are like the practical form of the Sankhya philosophy. So they have their foundation in the Sankhya philosophy. I'll just write that down also. Samkhya. Samkhya. So this forms the foundation of the Yoga Sutra. As soon as one starts talking of the Yoga Darshan or Yoga philosophy, the word that comes attached with that is the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Okay, so when you will read about yoga philosophy also, if you take up philosophy books also, so this is the thing that will be, this text will be discussed in that philosophy. So basically, when you see the word Yoga Darshan, it's a way of seeing through yoga. Okay, through the practice of yoga, what you are doing is you are building a way of seeing. Yes, so we discussed this in our philosophy class also. We're trying to see something. So Yog Darshan is the, I can say, those are the steps that are given to see something, and that something is seen through the process of yoga. And what we are trying to perceive and see is not, I can say, cannot be perceived by your eyes. Okay, so whatever we are trying to understand cannot be perceived through the senses. So that is what the Patanjali Yoga Sutra also focuses on Raj Yoga. You will see that in Raj Yoga also, when we will discuss the Raj Yoga in the future classes, then uh, Raj Yoga focuses on enhancing or sharpening the power of the mind, because it has the school believes that the mind has the ability to focus on something and remove the ignorance, but it's not sharpened right now because we are not exercising the mind. So in Raj Yoga, there are practices that are given which help you to concentrate the power of your mind so that you can gain a higher understanding of things with your mind. Okay, so it cannot be perceived through your like the five senses, eyes, nose. You cannot like the sense of smell. You cannot perceive what you're trying to understand through the senses. Okay. Now let's come to the text. So the text has 195 sutras. When you read on the internet and in a lot of places, you will find that the number of the sutras is given to be 196. But that happened with the commentaries. So when people started writing down commentaries on the yoga sutras, then what happened was this divided one sutra into two parts. Okay, so originally there were 195 sutras, not 196. Four chapters, or as Patanjali ji calls them, Pada, Pada. So the entire text is divided. The 195 sutras are composed in these four chapters. Okay. So I'll give you the names also of each chapter and what each chapter contains, because you should have an overall understanding of what each chapter has, so that if you want to refer to something, you can directly go to that chapter and look for that particular topic. So the chapters, I will just write down their name. The first chapter is called Samadhi Path. This one has 51 sutras. Then we have Sadhana Path. Fifty-five sutras. So Samadhi is spelled as Samadhi. Samadhi Path. Padha. Then we have Sadhana Path. Sadhana. Sadhana and Path. Padha. Then we have Vibhuti Path. Third one. This also has 55 sutras. Vibhuti. Vibhuti Path. Padha. And last one that we have is Kevalya. This one has 34 sutras. Kevalya. Kevalya. Padha. Kevalya Path. Okay. So before we go on to what each chapter talks about, let's just go back a little, and there are a few stories that pertain to how Patanjali ji came on earth and how he passed down this information. So there are a lot of stories that go about his coming to earth, because yoga was a knowledge which was like I can say very precious, and something that not everybody can pass down. So a proper like yogi person had to come down and pass that information, make sure that nothing is lost in translation, and the knowledge is passed down properly. So the first story that goes on is that uh, there were a lot of rishis and munis from earth, and like they went to Lord Vishnu. Okay, so we are talking about mythology, so nothing will make sense. So don't question the stories, how they went, how they reached him. All of these things are not of our concern. It's just a story. So let's just take it as a story, and enjoy the magic of the story. Okay. So they went to Lord Vishnu, and they were just like, "Hey, okay, you gave us Ayurveda. You have your Ayurveda classes also, so you must have had a class where your teacher talks about the origination of Ayurveda." So um, Lord Vishnu is also considered to have given the human race the science of Ayurveda. So all of those rishis and munis went to him, and they were just like, "Thank you, you have given us Ayurveda, and it is really helping all of us to maintain our physical health and make sure that we live a long and healthy life." However, we are seeing that despite the science, like we are still facing a lot that emotionally we are not able to balance ourselves. So, can you give us something which can cure this? Because health we are able to maintain now, but happiness we are still not able to maintain. So, can you give us some knowledge which will help us to enhance our happiness and be able to reach a point where we can eliminate all of our sufferings? So Vishnuji is said to rest on a serpent which has 1,000 faces, and his name is Adishesh. So he gave Adishesh to all the rishis and munis, and he took birth on earth as Maharishi Patanjali Ji. So one story is this, that it was his way of like giving the humankind the knowledge of yoga. The second story that goes on for the same thing is that what happened was once Lord Vishnu rests on his 1,000 serpent uh, headed snake Adishesh. So he was just resting on Adishesh, and he, like, when he closed his eyes and he went into sleep, he uh, saw Lord Shiva. And what did he see? He saw Lord Shiva dancing. Okay. So when he saw Lord Shiva dancing, he was so absorbed in that dance. And this is a common rule. Like when you go to some places, you feel that the vibration is very good. Yes. And some places when you go, the vibration is really bad. So you're just like, this place is not good. Or that place, I go to that place and I feel really good. Yeah. So this happens, like whichever place you are in, you start imitating that. You get the feeling of that thing. So when he was like, whenever we watch a movie, also we feel all of those things, all of the emotions that are going on in the movie. So when he closed his eyes and he saw Lord Shiva dance, he was he went into trance, and he started imitating Lord Shiva's vibration, I can say. So what happened was his body started becoming heavier and heavier, and it became really difficult for Adishesh to hold him. Like he was just about to collapse. He was just like, I was just about to collapse, and when it reached that point, Vishnuji woke up and his body suddenly became very light. Okay. And then Adishesh was able to hold him again. So he became very curious. He was just like, what happened? Tell me, like, how did this drastic shift happen? Suddenly you shifted from, being so heavy to being so light. So Vishnuji said that, okay, I saw Lord Shiva dance and it was a really beautiful experience. And my body became heavy because of that. So he had the will and the desire to learn the form of dance to please Lord Vishnu. Okay. So he had this intense desire from within. So Lord Vishnu saw this and he predicted that Shiv will give him a blessing so that he could come to earth in human form and learn the art of dance. Okay. So eventually what happened was he did get that blessing, but before he got that blessing, he had to become capable of coming in the human realm. So he started his meditation. Okay, so he was meditating, and after a while he got that blessing from Lord Shiva. So now it's very important to understand that a yogi cannot come into this world just like this, just like that. Okay, so like a train needs a track and a proper track so that the train can go on that track. So is the case with a yogi. So they also need the correct parents to enter this world. They cannot just, not every parent is capable of holding a yogi. So he was searching for a parent who will be capable of, acquiring me as their son. So there was a yogini down here on earth, and she had an intense desire to have a son so that she could pass down all the information that she had. Okay. So what happened was, uh, in her last attempt, she had lost all hope. In her last attempt, what she did was, in India, we pray to sun. Yeah, we have all the gods and like in different forms, and one of them is also the sun. So we pray to the sun. So what she did was, as an offering, she took some water in her hand to offer to the sun god, and she went outside and she prayed. And she had lost all hope. She was just praying that, okay, before I leave, maybe I will get a son and I can give all of this information to him. So as she was praying, and over there above, Adishesh had already gotten his blessing to come into the human world. So he saw that she is capable of, having a yogi son. So as she was praying, looking at the sun and praying, she suddenly felt something in her hand. And when she opened up her hands, she saw that there was a little snake in her hand who eventually turned into a little boy. And he was named Patanjali by him because the word Pat means to fall. And Anjali is this when you have your hands folded like this. So this is Anjali. So he was named by her as Patanjali because he literally came in her hands. Yeah. So these are, you will find other stories also, very interesting stories of how he came into existence, came on earth. And it is said that once he came, he did master the form of dance. Like he did master dance and learned it properly. Like so, he could fulfill his desire also, and he passed down yoga also. Um, One more story, last story. Okay. So right now we have just seen how he came to earth. Now let's see like how he passed down the information. So one story goes on like this. When people understood that, okay, Patanjali ji has come here and he has the sacred knowledge of yoga, then they reached out to him and they said that, okay, give us this information. So he had a condition. He had two conditions, in fact. The first condition that he had was that I need 1,000 people. when I am giving this knowledge of yoga. So, okay, they gathered 1000 people. The second condition that he had was that there would be a curtain between me and all the students. Okay, so no student can look at me directly. Now, Guru is Guru. So he said that nobody will look at him. So, okay, fine. They placed a curtain between him and all the disciples where they were sitting. So, okay, he was happy. He was like, okay, now let me start. So he started giving the Yoga Sutras. And when he was doing this, when you hear such good knowledge, there's a lot of burst of energy that you experience. So now 1000 people, 1000 different minds. So all of them, because they experienced such a burst of energy, they started thoughts started coming in their mind that why isn't he allowing us to see him, and we want to see him, we want to lift up this curtain and see. So first one person started thinking this way, and this happens, like if we have one doubt, then that energy spreads in the entire room. So now all of them started questioning, and all of them started having this curiosity that okay, let's like lift up the curtain. So in between all of this, there was a little boy, and he had to go to the washroom, so he stepped out. Okay, and he went outside, and he went very quietly so that nobody would notice. So he went out, and he was just like, oh, I'll be back in a matter of few minutes. So I don't think anybody will notice. So in this meantime, when he walked out, all of them, like one or two of the disciples went and they lifted up the curtain. Okay. And as soon as they lifted up the curtain, it happened that all of them burned. Okay, all of them were like wiped out, I would say. Okay, so now Patanjali ji noticed this, that okay, now the curtain has been lifted, and I asked them not to do it, and it was for good reason only, but they didn't listen. So okay, and he got very sad also because he was passing down such an important like piece of information, and all the disciples that he had were not there anymore. So who would take this knowledge to the rest of the human beings? Yes, so at that point of time, the little boy stepped in. Okay, and he saw that okay, one of them is alive, so he was happy. But because the student hadn't taken permission, so in the previous class also, when we were talking about the story, so we saw that um, even though Matsyendranath ji was blessed with human life, he was also given a punishment. So same happened with this boy also. So Patanjali ji finished all the Yoga Sutras, gave him all of the information that okay, you are the person who will be capable of passing down this information. So he gave him all the finished the Yoga Sutras and gave all the information. But he also said that I'm going to punish you. Okay, so I will not let this go. So what will happen is you have to teach at least one person this information, and unless and until you are not able to do that, you will not be free. So in Hindi we call a person the curse that he got was he became a rakshas or a demon. Demon would be the right word, I guess. And he lived on a tree. Okay, so now he was constantly waiting for some capable student to come so that he could give the knowledge of yoga and be free himself. Yeah, he wanted to liberate himself. So for that, what he did was he was like, so um, he did not have a choice. He had to ask a question. Basically, he was in that form where if nobody would answer that question, by default, he would eat them. Okay, he became a Rakshas. Yeah, so I'm not getting the exact English term for this, but in Hindi we call such people Rakshas. So every time anybody would cross that tree where he used to live, he used to stop them,
Demon.
ask them a question. Demon, yeah, demon. I'm not too sure if demon captures the exact essence of the word Rakshas.
Demon or devil?
Hmm.
Devil or
Okay.
demon, we can, yeah.
Yeah, let's go with demon only. Yeah. So, yeah, so whenever somebody passed him by, like he used to ask that one question, and it so happened that thousands of years passed, but no one was able to answer that question. And because they weren't able to answer those questions, he had to eat them. If somebody would have answered that question, he would have um, been able to give them that knowledge. So Patanjali ji saw this and he saw how miserable he was. That okay, now thousands of years have passed by and he is still not able to, get free, find at least even one student. So he himself, Patanjali ji himself, came down once again and he answered the question that the demon asked, and then he took the knowledge of the Yoga Sutras, and that is when he penned them down, and then the knowledge was passed down. So these are all like stories, and you will find many more interesting stories in fact when you search about Patanjali ji. So yeah, if you find time, do that. But these were the 2-3 main stories that are very common. So yeah,
One thing, I think I missed out. What was the question he was asking with to everyone?
I don't know the question, but he had to ask a question to test the capability of the student.
Okay, okay.
Uh, Saloni ji, did you catch that? Yeah,
Yes, got it.
I
Thank
don't know
you.
what the question was.
Okay.
Okay, so let's come back to the text now because yeah, I know one or two more stories, but then they are like you will read one about Shivji in a dance competition also. Search for that one. That one is also very interesting. Like Shivji in a dance competition, how Patanjali ji was related to that, and he passed down. Then he gave the knowledge of yoga. Very interesting things. Okay,
You can narrate.
so let's
Mythological
just
stories
write
are
down what each chapter has, so that we are aware.
But one day, definitely, you are going to tell us stories
Your
because
voice went away.
you feel that connection.
yeah,
When you listen
exactly.
all
Because
these stories, you feel that connection.
exactly, and mythological stories are something
Story.
that connects and very interesting every time.
I will narrate that tomorrow. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
But
you.
you can
thank you.
also online it tomorrow. The competition one. I was also
Okay.
reading it like okay, so many different, pertaining to one person only. There are so many stories that, like, when you went to philosophy, stories like you will read a lot of them because Upanishads were mainly given in a narration form. So there was always a conversation between the guru and the student. Like,
Has
so that
anybody
information
watched
will be
Har Har
understood
Mahadev?
by the people who read them in an easier form. Basically, Vedas was that. Has anybody watched that?
Yeah, the one of Mohit Raina.
Yes, that one.
Yeah,
And then
that one.
Mahabharata, the new one.
No, I have not watched the new one, but I have watched the little bit of the older one.
Okay, Mahabharata new one is especially the Sri Krishna when they start telling about Gita shloks. No, that chapter is really interesting. It's on
Okay, I'll follow
Hotstar.
that then. Okay, I'll follow it then.
Okay, awesome. So you guys are already very connected to um the cultural. I would say this is a very important part of our culture, like Gita, Ramayan,
Yes.
all of these, like they are generally like earlier we used
You
to have them in our education.
Yeah,
Sorry?
you means you feel that if you're not connecting with your means Sanskriti, then that means you are not human. We are Indians, so definitely we have to connect with our own religious, own Sanskriti to know about. Otherwise, what we are going to pass to our next generation.
Yeah.
True.
That is how all of these things are passed down one generation to other. We listen to stories, then we tell our kids those stories, then our kids tell their kids those stories. It's actually a very beautiful process of passing down uh, this information. Yeah. Okay. We do have some time. Okay. Let's just write down the details like for each chapter. Okay, so in Samadhi path, you will find the definition of yoga. So yoga is Chitta Vritti Nirodha, the one that we did when we were trying to understand what yoga is given in the first chapter itself, in the second sutra. First chapter, second sutra was this one only, Yoga is Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So definition of yoga is given in the first chapter. Second thing that he gave in the first chapter, which is very important, is the mention of the vritti. So when we talk of yoga chitta vritti nirodha, so what do you like? What are the vrittis that come up in your mental field in the chitta? Are also talked of in the first chapter itself, and he has explained each and every vritti properly. So he has given the definition of. He has given 5 vrittis in total. If you have time, we will discuss these, I think, when we are discussing of Rajyog in detail. So he has given 5 vrittis and he has explained what each vritti means, like what is the characteristic of each vritti. Okay, so vrittis, then he moves on to give you the solution to uh, eliminating, like the solution to this vritti thing, like how do you eliminate the vritti? Okay, so Nirodha is then
All of
given.
this is in the first chapter itself.
All of this is in the first chapter itself. Okay, so then how do you reach that
PDF is available.
No, I have the original book
Um,
also in Sanskrit.
yeah, I just now I downloaded that book called Yoga Sutra of Patanjali.
Please do share it.
Yeah, I will.
So yeah, you will. One more book is 4 chapters on freedom by Bihar School of Yoga. That is also very good. If you guys uh, want to read in depth, that is a good book.
Please do share.
I do. I think you will find it online. I
Can you
not
type the
sure.
name?
Purple colored book. Okay. So he talks of like way of eliminating vritti. So one thing you need to understand is he was a very intelligent man. Okay. So he has given 3 processes to eliminate vrittis. In the first chapter, when he talks of the way of elimination of vritti in the first chapter, he is talking to an advanced level student. Okay. So he understood that the time of the advanced level student is very important. So he will just read the first chapter, understand what is the process he has to follow, and he will just start practicing. Okay. Then when he comes to the second chapter, then I will tell you, then he has given the other two methods, one for the intermediate level student and one for the beginner level student. Okay. So in the first chapter, he's talking to an advanced level student. And that after telling like the way of eradicating the vrittis, the concept of Ishwar is also discussed in the first chapter. And Om is discussed, touched upon in the first chapter. Then what is Samadhi and what are the different types of Samadhis? Okay, first chapter, Samadhi part. All of this information is given in the first chapter. Okay, then we come to the second chapter, which is Sadhana part. So Sadhana means discipline. Okay, so then he mentions the second form, Kriya Yoga, okay, for an intermediate level student. That okay, now you are not advanced level and you're not a beginner also. So what will you do? Okay, the concept of kleshas or sufferings uh, is also discussed in the second chapter. Then Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is discussed in the this chapter, second chapter. Ashtanga Yoga starts in the second chapter itself, and then we see that all of Ashtanga Yoga is not completed in the second chapter. Only till the fifth limb, Pratyahar, the information is completed in the second chapter, and then the second chapter closes. Then we come to the third chapter, Vibhuti Path. Vibhuti directly translates to supernatural powers or the psychic powers that you attain on the path of yoga. Yes, so we have already discussed that when you are on the path of yoga, you will attain certain, I can say, powers, and that is a byproduct of the process that you are undertaking, but they are not the main point of focus when somebody practices yoga. Okay, and he emphasizes in the third chapter itself that you should not get stuck at siddhis. He tells you how which siddhi you will attain by doing what, like concentration
Does not get stuck on. I could not get the word.
on vibhutis or siddhis. He calls them vibhutis, but in other places you will also find the name siddhi. Okay, so and he like emphasizes a lot that you should not like, because when we hear this word psychic ability, and it sounds very fascinating to us, and when you reach to a point where you have cleansed yourself so much that these things come up naturally, then there is a tendency to go into that cycle again where you are um, in the a cycle where you are using these siddhis to attain something from the material world only. So you are just stuck over there, basically. Now you have enhanced abilities, but you are not focusing on your main goal where you want to eliminate all the sufferings. When you get into this process of, you know, using your siddhis and you still, you're not able to come out of all the sufferings, basically. Okay, so these come because once again it's a way of um, this entire illusion to keep you tied down to this world, so don't get stuck there. Okay, higher level, it's a higher level, but still when I talk of the vibhuti path, I always emphasize on this. Okay, and then when we move to the fourth chapter, the kevalya path, then the nature and characteristic of Kevalya is discussed. So Kevalya directly translates to, over here, it means the final goal. Okay, Kevalya is our final goal, which we have to attain. But Kevalya directly translates to isolation. Okay, it comes from the word Keval, and Keval means isolation. So why has he used this specific term, Kevalya? Why has he used this? There must be some reason. So this word specifically, this word has been used by him um, because the state that you want to achieve, the highest state that you have to achieve, your goal is that you cannot achieve it without isolating yourself. You are the only one who can liberate yourself. You will find a lot of gurus who will tell you about the path, who will tell you the checkpoints, who will tell you, okay, when you reach here, this is what you will experience. Then you know that you are on the right path. Then you will reach this stage. But no guru can liberate you. It's you yourself who has the ability and the power to liberate yourself out of all of your suffering. So this stage, the final stage of samadhi, is always achieved in isolation. You must have seen a lot of yogis also. So when we talk of yoga, a lot of people get scared. They just say, okay, I will have to seclude myself from the entire world. Because that is the way in which we have seen yogis, like they isolate themselves. Yes. And the final point is achieved when you are isolated. But a lot of stages before that can still be achieved when you are living in your normal day-to-day life. So right now, our main focus should, for now, should be come out of the diseased state and become capable of at least handling and experiencing all the pleasure that life has to offer us. So bhogi stage. Yogi stage is really like far off for us, for all of us, for a common person. So even when you become a yogi, then up till a particular point you can exist in this world, but the final stage will come when you seclude yourself. So kevalya, that is why he used the term kevalya. So the nature and characteristics of kevalya, and what does kevalya mean, actually what does it mean, has been discussed in the fourth chapter, the concept of karma and what kind of karma does a person do in day-to-day life. That has also been talked of in the fourth chapter,
Yeah,
32. So
I have a question. Like what you briefed 4 chapters. I want to know which where these chapters are in the manual. The first mail we received, or there is some other book where we can find it.
this is not
It's
in
in
the manual.
Patanjali Yoga Darshan, right?
The name of the book is Patanjali Yoga Darshan or
Okay.
Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And I wrote down the name of a book in the chat box also right now, 4 chapters of freedom. So you can
Okay.
read that also. This is a separate text actually. So
Okay.
but learning about, okay, this is the format of the text, this is what is present in the text. यहाँ पे present है ये चीजें. जैसे हमें book के बारे में एक overview ले लेते हैं ना, वो कर रहे हैं. Book अलग है.
Okay, actually, today you sent a message of how we will get our exam in the format of a practical exam and the theory one. So there, you also wrote the question answer session. So whatever you just briefed this now, those means about those things we will be asked a question about.
Okay, so in the group today, what I put was the practical exam. Theory exam is separate because when kids like have children have their practical exam, they're confused what is going to be asked in the practical exam. So that will be the format of your practical exam after you pass your theory exam. So one stage is theory exam. When you pass that, then we have the practical. First thing is this. Second, question and answer session. It's not necessary that it would be separate. Maybe when you are doing certain practices, I will ask you questions relating related to those practices.
Okay. And this exam will be at the end of this when we will complete this course, 100 hours course.
So once you complete the pre-recorded videos and you're joining the Zoom live sessions, once you think that you have now absorbed all of the information, yeah,
Okay.
you can contact us for the theory exam. We'll send you the
Okay.
theory questions, and after that you'll have your practical.
Okay. Thank you.
There is a timeline of 3 months. You have to finish the entire course in 3 months.
Yeah, right. Yes. Thank you.
So, any doubts in whatever we have covered today? No, everybody got everything. Like, I hope nobody missed out on any detail. If you did, let me know. I will repeat.
No. Got it.
Got it? Oh,
Achha, can I ask a question?
yeah, sure.
Like you have mentioned that we can read about this like in modern era. I think Swami Vivekananda has written about it, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So when we read that, can those principles that he has written be used and followed?
Of course. He
Okay.
was a
The
guru.
authenticity.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. See, don't just follow anybody and everybody, but Swami Vivekananda was a very, I can say, prominent yogi.
Yeah,
So
I actually
follow him.
follow a lot of texts about, I mean, actually, I follow him. So I have his books also. So in that, he has written, it's very difficult to understand though, because the language is used and the read between. So that's what I wanted to just confirm.
Anusha ji, you are muted. Like, got muted
Hello.
in between.
I'm audible, actually, a phone call was
Yeah,
there. Now am I audible? Yeah, so I have been reading
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So that's why I just wanted to ask that we can follow those principles, right?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, great.
Any other doubt?
No, thank you.
So if you have any doubts, you can bring them tomorrow. We can discuss them in the class. For today, you can read about this. Like as your classes go on, you can read about those things because we don't cover very big topics like a lot of like 3, 4 topics together. We have one topic for one class. You can read about those things and let me know if you face any doubts. Um, so I'll end the session. So everybody back in next week. You can gently close your eyes and just observe your breath. Allow all of this information to seep in. And now take one deep breath. Inhale deeply and exhale deeply. Inhale for chanting Om one time. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Both the palms together in front of the chest, bow down, and that you are grateful for, and say a mental thank you. Rub both the palms together. Keep them over your eyes, and slowly, while blinking and looking at the palms, open up your eyes. And namaste to everyone. I will see all of you tomorrow. Oh, in the evening class for pranayam. Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.